I'm Allison Danger, and I am the publisher at Wayside Creative Incorporated, and this is True North Country Comics Podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics Podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Allison Danger, owner and operator of Wayside Creative. Please like and subscribe to this website by hitting the subscribe button so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Residing in Ontario, Allison Danger calls herself an analytical romantic who uses the art of storytelling to best express her sentiment and emotionality. Her works are influenced by pop culture and believes that every story needs a soundtrack. Allison is the writer and creator of the Blood and Motor Oil graphic novel, the illustrated story When Wolf Lost Moon, the Best of Us graphic novel, We Save the World comic book, and more. Her stories focus on the intimate human interactions and friendships told in fantastic science fiction settings. Allison is also the owner and operator of Wayside Creative, the Ontario-based independent publisher that focuses on cinematic storytelling from innovative voices, operated proudly with a mandate of being creator first. Post-war, the first comic book published by Wayside Creative contains 4 short stories set in the post-World War II time period, focused on underrepresented individuals who were denied their accolades after participating in the war effort. Allison is the author of these stories, illustrated by various artists that focus on identity, sexuality, racial prejudice, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Editor's note, the movie I tried to remember that reminded me of post-war was called The Best Years of Our Lives, the award-winning 1946 motion picture featuring Myrna Loy, Dana Andrews, and many others. So without further ado, here's my chat with Allison Danger, owner and operator of Wayside Creative. So, Allison Danger.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm well. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. We're here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails for a big launch.
It is a multi-launch day for us here today.
And wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. First of all, I guess we should talk about what you're up to these days, what's new and exciting, and
very good.
Why are you collaborating with Wayside Comics and Cocktails?
Great question. Wayside is the brand that has all the same values that I have. It's artists first, it's stories first, and it's taking those voices and really elevating them to the next level. So taking the idea of that kind of mentality from a comic shop and from somebody who's a big part of the community, we're able to expand that into our publishing realm. So Omar runs the Comics and Cocktails, and I'm now looking after the publishing endeavors that we're taking on.
And what's your title here?
I'm the owner, operator, CEO, whatever fancy letters you want to give me. I don't know. I just do the work.
That's pretty cool. For people who aren't familiar with this establishment, I've been here many times before, but I've been here and there's a lot of comic book creators who've come through here.
Yes.
And not just like walking through and having a nice beverage, but actually displaying their wares.
That's right. There's a lot of great connections with especially our Canadian contingent of, kind of our big names that are working through, the big titles that everybody wants to see. So, the Mike Ruths, the Adam Gorhams, the Nick Marankoviches that are all coming up and joining us, signing their books, checking things out, but also really being a part of the community here.
Sure.
So it's been really great.
Absolutely. I mean, it's nice sort of a stop for people outside of the big smoke,
That's
I guess.
That's right,
so
yeah. Escape the city for a day, have a nice cocktail, chats about some comics. It's good.
Now, this doesn't mean that you're stopping your own work, right? You're still continuing on?
No, what I'm hoping is that I still do write, but I'm going to focus a little bit more on my novel as opposed to graphic novels. But where I'm really at now is with the publishing side of things is being able to elevate other voices. So what's really kind of getting me going and really edging me on is the idea of being present and accounted for, building up other voices in the community and helping them reach those goals.
Okay. This has been known as an establishment for people to come by and buy their books or have a beverage. Why would a store, of all things, create their own comic books and comic book line?
I think there's a lot of stories out there left to tell. And Omar and I developed a friendship before a business relationship, and we really saw eye to eye about the creators in our community, the untapped abilities and talent that is just waiting to get to that next level. And we want to help them do that.
Cool. So let's talk about the book itself. You are the author?
I am. So Post-War is the book that's coming out today. It's 4 short stories, all told in the same kind of universe. It's post-World War II, and it's basically a group of underrepresented people that never really got their accolades after participating in the war effort. There's a story about a woman who had to pretend to be a man to be taken seriously in combat. There's a story about somebody who comes home with PTSD. A story about somebody of color that gave their life in sacrifice for their country, and a story about a gentleman that had to hide his sexuality. So again, taking real stories and incorporating some fantastical elements to draw people in, but it really is kind of it's a tragic love story to the people who didn't get their due.
Right. Now, I'm forgetting the name of the movie, but there was a famous movie that came out after the war about that same sort of thing. People came back and they had limbs missing and they're trying to reintegrate into society. Right. Was very tough. And I'm going to kick myself for not remembering the name of this famous movie, but I'll make a note of it later on. But this is great to be able to tell these stories. Maybe you could talk a little bit about who's involved.
Absolutely.
From a creator perspective.
Absolutely. So I was lucky enough to be able to write the 4 stories, and I've gotten to work with 4 amazing artists on the book. So each story was tackled by a different artist or a different artist team. So we have a gentleman named Ray Anthony Height. He's done Dinosaur Girl. He's worked in a number of things for Luke Cage, Marvel. One of his associates, JJ Lopez, out of the Dominican, has been wonderful. But the people who I really kind of want to bring their names into are our locals, and that's Andrew Wilson. This is his comic debut, so we're all very pumped because it's phenomenal. And the other person is Benjamin Tiesma, who is another local artist that has contributed to making this project come to life. So, yeah, we've got more than half Canadian contingent, which is great.
Cool. How was the collaboration process? Now, you've worked on the script. That was done first of all, and then you said, artist, go.
Basically, yes, it became more of a collaborative work. So once we kind of got through the first story, Benjamin and I, it was decided that we were going to try and break those stories off. So they were given to different artists. And again, making comics for us, it's artists first. So we want to make sure that our artists are properly compensated before the work is done, not getting paid back end when we finally get around to publishing. That's just not our mentality. So we have to make sure our book is funded before we actually make the book.
That makes sense.
Right. So as those funds became available and we were able to have artists take on those different sections, it took a little while, but we're over the moon about the outcome.
That's great. That's great. Because typically it's the other way around. Like people wait for the books to be done, you get the sales, and then you compensate the artists or collaborators, right? So
that's just not where we're at mentally. Again, from that moral and ethical perspective, we're asking professional artists to give us their time and energy and skill. And in a world where we value artists over computers, that is something that needs to be compensated. It needs to be put forefront. I, as a writer, again, it's the expectation. If I'm going to give some sort of myself to a project, then we're able to look after that now. And if we're successful, we want to be, that's the name of the game in publishing. Now the onus is on us to go out and really speak up about how wonderful all these creators are.
That's good. That's good. Now, distribution is always the next hardest part. Now, as the imprint is Wayside,
correct,
are you anticipating that other comic book stores would pick this up?
So that's the hope. So we are going through traditional distribution channels. I know with Diamond is kind of a hot mess, so not our first choice. But yes, we're going to make sure that we're making ourselves known through those traditional channels. So the ways that people can pick up, what's coming and the previews as it was. All that kind of stuff, we'll definitely be participating that way. But what we're hoping as well is to do some maybe exclusive covers with different shops, have them to our space, and then we would go to their space. So really kind of that community aspect, because we have the physical space here to offer, we can do those reciprocity, promotions for one another.
Cool. Now, what's next? This is this is great, your launch here today, and I don't want to diminish that, but what's coming down the road? Can you give any hints or tips about what we can expect?
We really plan to be on the convention circuit pretty hard next year, so you'll see lots of us. But that being said, this fall is all about acquisition. So we're going to be looking to bring on writer-creator teams, or also finished works that are looking for a publisher or distributor. But again, coming from us as creative people, it's important that the listeners know that we don't take ownership of any of the IPs that we publish. We're strictly looking for a publishing distribution deal. The artists maintain the ownership of their IP.
Ah, that's very encouraging.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean people are listening could send in their suggestions that they want to collaborate and perhaps be published with your imprint?
We're happy to look at anything and everything, as time allows. Of course, we've all got 18 things we're doing on a regular basis. But absolutely, if people are looking for, just have a cup of coffee and talk comics and making them, then that's great. But if they're looking for somebody to sit down with them and act as, an editor or promoter or, social media or anything else like that, then that's a bit of a different conversation. But we're really happy to help with that stuff too.
Typically, the physical printing part is kind of tricky these days, especially with what's going on. I'm not going to get into politics, but what's down south.
Of course.
Have you addressed that, or how do you address that with, trying to be a Canadian entity? How are you getting things published?
So there's a couple of different avenues, but we do have connections with Ontario-based printers and Quebec-based printers for hardcovers, if that's something people are looking for. So we do have those relationships established if people are wanting in-house or in Canada printing, because that's an important part of the puzzle right now.
Okay, and where should people go if they want to find out more information about this title and perhaps interact with Wayside Comics?
Absolutely. So the best way to get a hold of me is my direct email, and that's allison.danger@gmail.com. And that'll come straight to me, and it won't get kind of lost in the mix. So that's allison.danger@gmail.com. Or you can check out waysidecreative.com or By the Wayside, waysideshow.com. And that's kind of our media arm as well. So that has our TV program, and it's got lots of our past and future creators on the show as well.
And that's where people can buy this book as well?
That is the place to be, waysidecreative.com.
Very good. Well, Allison, those are the questions that I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask, something that's pertinent, that you want to get across in this interview?
Comics is a team sport, so we're happy to expand our team or be a part of yours.
Thanks to Allison for the chat. You can discover more about Wayside Creative online at waysideshow.com/wayside-creative and on Instagram at Wayside Creative. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to even more conversations with creators about making comic books and graphic novels. I also encourage you to subscribe via the website so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. You can follow along True North Country Comics on most social media sites, and you're encouraged to send any and all feedback to John at truenorthcountrycomics.com. Thanks for tuning in, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2025.